Blessings and welcome, my sisters and brothers, to the Law of One study channel, conscious channeling of LL Research. I believe today's video will be fruitful for my fellow seekers as it is fruitful for me. This question was placed to QO back in September 23 of 2001, following the 9/11. The question today has to do with the concept of the light bringer, the knowledge bringer, whether this is Lucifer that was the knowledge bringer, or the light bringer, or Eve who gave Adam the apple from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We are wondering if QO could give us some information about the nature of these entities or these qualities that bring knowledge. Are these entities themselves either good or evil? How does the concept that they deliver to us give us the ability to pursue that which is good or evil, service to self or service to others? In our last session, QO gave us some information concerning the lightning struck tower, which is also a concept or an image that shows light in its sudden and fiery form, causing what seems to be destruction. We are wondering if there is other fruit from this destruction. Can something positive come out of the lightning struck tower? And literally, the towers in New York City that were destroyed. We are those known to you as the principle of QO, and we greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator, in whose service we are. It is a great privilege to be called to your group this week, and we thank you for the privilege of sharing our thoughts with you and for sharing this time of meditation. Each of your vibrations are beautiful to us, and we thank you for the gift of yourselves, the gift of your time and your seeking. You ask this day concerning the matrix of the Spirit and the potentiator of the Spirit. And may we say that this is a very interesting subject, and certainly one that challenges our ability to use this instrument to create a structure of sense and truth. For this is a mazed subject. The construction of archetypical images in a certain system is a tool, a resource of learning about the architecture of the deep roots of your mind. It describes things that are impossible to put into words in terms of imagery and combinations of images. These are subjective images that are intended to act as triggers. They are not necessarily to be literally interpreted, but to be felt, to be sensed, and to be entered into. In the system of the images, which we of the Confederation have often spoke to your group concerning, the archetypical images are divided into three groups: those that pertain to the body, those that pertain to the mind, and those that pertain to the spirit. In each of the three systems, there is a matrix, which is a still and unmoving structure that is a receptor web that has only very limited ability to act. What it can do is desire, it can reach. This is the nature of the matrix. It is essentially a structure into which catalysts will come and through which catalysts will be processed into experience. In these three systems, the potentiator is that which is able to fertilize or to make fruitful the matrix. There is a dynamic between matrix and potentiator then. The basic dynamic is that in the mind, the reacher and the reached. In the body in constant motion, and the controller of that body. And in the spirit, the unreaching, unhasting darkness of spirit waiting for, hoping for, yearning for, and desiring information about itself. And out of the dynamic of that dark yearning comes the potentiator of the spirit, which is light. Let us take a moment to gaze at the power and the peace of the situation, of the empires of mind and body and spirit, the supple and little connections between body and mind and spirit, spirit and body. The spirit, the soul, the entity that each of you is a crystalline shape, a snowflake, shall we say, a beautiful crystal. Each of you is unique. Each of you has your own beauty. Each of you has your own symmetry. And within your crystal, each of you is working with those perceived flaws, those clinging barnacles of matter that are not the gem. Each of you seeks the light of spirit to inform and advise. Each of you then has laid before you a tremendous range of resources upon which you can rely with your linear, intellectual mind, with all the powers of rationalization that you have at your command, with the grace and rhythm of the pulsing body that in its instinct and in its essence is so completely aware as a second density creature is of the love and the light, of the harmony and the unity of the creation and the infinite creator, and of the tremendous strength of that creature which is the spirit. The kingdom of the spirit is a dark one, and we say this not because darkness is evil, for darkness is not evil. We say this because it is the nature of spirit within third density to be largely impossible to see. It is dark because it must be dark. And the light that is the lightning-struck tower, though it may seem radiant to the physical eyes, when seen as a symbol in your World Trade Center bombing, in terms of metaphysics, it is a frail and flickering candle of lightning bolt that is all too quickly extinguished and shows all too little of the hidden landscape of the spirit. Each of you will spend the incarnational time that you have in this estate of peering into darkness using seemingly the dimmest of lights, occasionally receiving that lightning, that bolt of empathy that speaks, that is as the star that guides, that brings that moment of clarity and spiritual truth that is so blessed. Thusly, the matrix of the spirit is called, in the tarot system, the devil simply because the spirit seems, in its form, to be antithetical to the body. It seems that there is a tremendous sacrifice involved in moving from things of the body to things of the spirit. It seems as if one must give up the life, in a way, when one chooses the life of the spirit because the life of the world no longer fits, no longer applies. When light has been brought into the spirit, there is tremendous change and transformation that takes place. And there is a death process that goes on as the allegiance and the thinking of the seeker moves from one system or realm or kingdom to another. Is this an evil matrix? Is there something evil about the spirit that has brought the energy of Lucifer and Satan into identification with it? We would say, no, absolutely without hesitation, there is no evil, whatever, in the spirit, nor is there good, but rather there is simply essence. There is that which is. This is how you are made. This is the way your vibrations are structured within the energy pattern or the energy field of your being. This is the way the Creator is articulated at this point in the Creator's progress. And what you are looking at is, as this group has mentioned several times during the conversation, somewhat abstract and hard to get a hold of because it is not the familiar. It is not the everyday, but rather it is what is moving below the surface of self in very deep portions of the self that help to shape the options that are available to each of you within the incarnation. The more that you can see into these relationships of matrix and potentiator of spirit, the more hardy you may be in terms of being able to withstand and to be able to use the light which there is because it is so precious and so rare. Those who bring light are, shall we say, a way or a symbol of the same thing as saying those who bring polarity. It is not precisely knowledge that the tree involved in the Garden of Eden story was bearing as its fruit. That is not it, precisely. It is not simply a body of knowledge that was forbidden. Rather, it is the essence of third density that is being talked about in this story. The creatures of Eden were basically second density entities. They did not have free will. They did not have self-awareness. They were the created opportunities for spiritual growth without the indwelling spirit. The story of the one known as Satan offering this fruit of good and evil to the one known as Eve is, as the one known as Eric points out, a delightful way of shifting the blame for the entire fall of human nature to women, and that, shall we say, incorrect solution has entranced and delighted men in many different religious systems of those of your planet, and has led many into sweeping generalizations concerning biases towards the female gender and their unworthiness, which has been quite stubborn imbalances within your peoples as a race. Each of you will find within this circle is fully aware that this is not a correct solution. It is neither a masculine or a feminine quality, good and evil, but rather each of these genders is opportunities to learn certain lessons. And the souls that inhabit these bodies of gender are both sexes and neither sex. In other words, simply souls. But the reason, the logic behind the woman giving to the man this fruit of the tree of good and evil, this polarity, this third density essence, is simply that in the system of archetypes, the matrix of the mind is the unfed spirit. The unfed seeker and the potentiator of the mind is a deeply feminine character, the high priestess, which represents, shall we say, fruitifying influence of the subconscious, so that the unfed mind is reaching into the subconscious for its knowledge. for its truth, for its beginning of experience. This is the only reason for this attribution of so-called evil to the feminine character. It is well, when looking at stories such as the Adam and Eve story, to look at them in symbolic terms, in general terms, in terms that would suggest and would provoke contemplation of deeper issues. The darkness of the spirit is like unto the darkness, the apparent darkness of the starry heavens. As you gaze from the side of your planet out into outer space, that which velvet of infinite space is, as are you in a spiritual aspect, an undiscovered country of hills and valleys unknown. And every place is sacred. And every place is full of information. And every place looks to be that which it is not. There is thick darkness and great depth of unknowingness to the spirit within third density. The veil of forgetting is very deep, and the life-giving light, when it falls, yet does it not always disclose truth? And so there is a great peering into what light there is to see beyond the falsity of the complex and intricate patterns of spirit. Even when the veil of forgetting is lifted, even when you ascend into densities which are full of light, yet still that spirit is stubbornly unknown, and layers of misinformation and false patterning will fall away as the densities roll, and we find this still to be true with ourselves. We find we still peel away another layer and another layer of that deception of spirit, which is part and parcel of the situation which we all enjoy as part of the Creator. It is not that the Creator intends to deceive. It is not that the light means to be false. It is that there is so much of untold riches to the infinite Creator that it is not all articulated. There is much still for the Creator to know about itself, and yet that seeking is a slow process. For all that the Creator finds out about itself, it finds out from you, each of you, each of us, each of all of those entities that live and move and have their being within the creation of the one Creator. We find great beauty in this pattern. We do not understand it completely. As each of you works with your own spiritual journey, we ask simply that you not fear the Light-Bringer, who brings seeming destruction. For there must be that taken down as a preparation for that which is built anew. There needs to be the removal of false concepts before the building of a fresh and vital new concept. Hey, this is Robert. I like how QO says the other day how fourth density light is increasing more and more, which then, the Confederation is saying that we're in times of great polarization. The negative are becoming more negative, and the positive are becoming more positive, and there will become that point of obvious separation, where for the positively oriented seekers, they can see clear as day the negative polarity and won't want to associate with that. Blessings in the love and the light of our one infinite Creator. It's been my pleasure sharing this information with you. Be in peace, my brothers and sisters. Until next time, I love you.